what are these resolutions that you and I can't live without? The first one is the heart of a servant. If you don't have the heart of a servant, then make a resolution that this year is going to be the year that you become a servant. Because becoming a servant is a choice. You know, I can't tell you that a whole bunch over the years that I've seen, that a whole bunch has really changed, except really for one. And that is that the moment you come into someone's presence, you realize whether or not that they're there to get or they're there to give. The people that are servants are there to give. They're there to make other people better. Jesus said this. He said, you know, that the attitude of a servant will determine the atmosphere of any situation or of the palace. You see, when you rule your attitude, you really control your life. When you can control your mouth, when you can control the things that come out of it, the actions that you have because of it, you really can control your entire life. In the book of Mark, chapter 10, verse number 42, Jesus said it like this. Jesus got them together to settle things down, the Message Bible said. And the reason why that he did was because James and John actually jumped right up to the front. And what they wanted to do is that they wanted to be the ones that sat on Jesus' right hand and his left hand. And so everyone else got upset. And so what these guys did was they actually, they were going to put themselves in front of everyone, but Jesus wanted to settle them down, and he wanted to actually give the reality of what happens. Because there are people that live in fantasy and people that live in reality. Now, living in hope is not living in fantasy. What it is that you realize the real things that are going on, but yet at the same time, you're very hopeful that something better can come. So Jesus said this in Mark chapter 10, verse 42. He says, Jesus got them together to settle things down. And he said, you've observed how godless rulers throw their weight around. He goes on to say then, and when people get a little power, how quickly it goes to their heads. You see, the surest way to find out whether an individual has any narcissistic behaviors or not in their life is to give them some money. Just this week, I've had the opportunity to be with some people that they really were pretty well to do. And what they told me was that the more wealthy that the people that they met were, and these were wealthy people on their own, but they said the more wealthy people that we've met here and in our lives have been the nicest people that you've ever met in your life. You can't even tell whether those individuals have money or whether they don't. But you see, in a lot of cases, what happens is that the moment that a person gets a little bit of money, what ends up happening is that they end up becoming narcissistic. They don't have any room for others. They're not willing to bring others to the table that they so easily eat at every day. And so, friends, Jesus said, don't you understand how these rulers get when they begin to let this power go to their heads? He said, but it's not going to be that way with you. He said, because whoever wants to be great needs to become a servant. Whoever wants to be great. Now, that doesn't mean that you go out and you wait tables. It doesn't mean that you're kind at every person's beck and call about everything. What it really means is that you have the attitude of being willing to open the treasure trove of your mind, of your heart, of your life, in order to be able to see other people get better. He goes on to say, it's not going to be that way with you. He said, because whoever wants to be first among you must serve. If you want to be first, You need to learn how to serve. And Jesus was the greatest leader, the greatest teacher that ever lived. And he told us that we need to know how to serve. So the first resolution that must be made coming into this new year must be that if greatness is going to come upon me, I must serve my way there.